evening, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa, that was a voice crack and a half. Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns, and welcome to the LavaDash, to the Twilight Princess Goron Mines RTA tournament live here. The qualification and pool matches all over, and now it's time for the brackets, the normal bracket, and tonight, the redemption bracket, round 1, between Zeldz08 and Deesh. Great commentary from Anarakis and from Scarion. Take it away, it's all yours.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm really excited for this race. I don't know about you, Skype, but both of these are Wii runners, and the Wii speedrun is pretty much the same as the GameCube speedrun, but it's got a few nice quirks.
Yeah, I'm also very excited about this. This is nice because we've had Wii races before in recent DSR races, but it's been grouped together with GameCube, so the aspect ratio has been a bit weird. But in this case, we have, all of the runners on screen are Wii, so it's gonna look really nice now for Wii.
Yeah, it should be nice.
I'm curious to see how much this will mess with my brain watching a full run of Wii. I don't often watch Wii runs. I mean, occasionally, we get submissions on Wii, and sometimes I verify those, but...
Looks like Zeldz is playing on French and Deesh on English. Interesting. Yeah, I've done a few runs on the Wii version, and it's a little disorienting for the first few runs, but then you get used to it.
Yeah, I've wondered about, like, I've wanted to buy the Wii version just for this category, but I'm just worried that it's gonna mess with my muscle memory for other categories where I use GameCube. It's probably going to be fine. It's probably no big deal, but yeah, a little worry about that. Looks like we're just switching the layout a little bit, so the aspect ratio will be correct for both. There we go. Alright, it looks like we are ready to get started. I'll leave the race myself, so we can begin.
Never mind, looks like Zeldz is playing on English after all.
Alright.
Alright. Starting down the countdown, we'll be off soon. Let's see. What are their PBs? Pulling it up real quick. Hoping for a close race, of course.
Yeah, I think we will see a close race too. I think that will happen. So let me refresh my thingy.
Alright, and we're off.
And we're
the
off.
race has begun. So we'll see the runners going to the left instead of the right. Don't get confused, Sky.
I'll try.
And as with all Twilight Princess runs that save and quit and also do glitches, we'll be picking up this rock and using it to clip through a fence and doing back in time.
Yeah, back in time is a bit finicky on Wii. It's very prone to crashing. But there are a couple of things they can do to sort of decrease the likelihood of crashing. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but that'll come into place a little bit later in the run. Basically, if you press A on the home screen, then it will crash most often. But we'll see them do a setup later to prevent that. It looks like Deesh is doing a safety save here because there is no consistent there is no 100% consistent setup for back in time on Wii. The best they have is doing a side hop and pressing start like 1 frame later, which is sometimes a little difficult. So I don't blame Deesh at all for doing that safety save.
Yeah, it's very wise. And apparently there's no 100% consistent setup for GameCube either, as we saw with the last race of Simikins versus KitKat, where they both failed it multiple times.
Yeah, but both of them getting onto the title screen there, and Zeld's getting the lantern.
Very nice. Yeah, good to see that they managed to get past the back in time bit very quickly. Next big, you know, the next area like that would be Sword and Shield Scoop, where we could see one of them not getting a first try, but hopefully they both get a first try.
Yeah, another fun quirk of the Wii version is when they do back in time, it disables the pointer, so you don't have that little fairy just flying around the screen right now. They will probably re-enable that later, especially because the aiming with the bow is faster with the pointer than it is with just the control stick. But they don't need to re-enable that just yet. Good question from Dr. Yoshisor in the chat. This category is Goron Mines RTA. Goron Mines is the second dungeon in the game, and the goal is simply to beat that dungeon as fast as possible. It takes about an hour to do, and is very interesting. It's one of the nicer short categories of this game.
Yeah, the route used to be fairly like linear and, you know, very intentional back in the day, but after the discovery of text displacement, the route has gotten really interesting and a lot faster.
And yet, even with that discovery, it doesn't change that the start is the same as most other categories. For the most part.
Yeah, a little difficult to leave word on at first, so a few scripted story events that we need to get through, like saving Tallow from the bokoblins outside of Forest Temple, herding some goats, but we do get to ignore Bo for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a category, as Trez said, because it's a really good racing category, a lot shorter, but also because Goron Mines is just a really neat dungeon, and we skip it at any percent. So it's nice to have a category that actually goes to it and goes through it.
Yeah, so Goron Mines RTA was, along with Forest Temple No Saving Quit races, that sprung out, like it sprung out from races on Forest Temple No Saving Quit back in 2011 on Speedrun's Live. And lots of old school runners, of course, like Fino, Rob West, Ing, raced this category way back, and it was dormant for a while until, you know, some people in the community picked it up in around 2018, I want to say, and myself included started running it back then. And I went through a couple of different routes with when the discovery of TD was made. It was quite exciting. And yeah, I was just looking on the leaderboard, and I saw the Goron Mines RTA, and I thought, this looks interesting, I'll try it out. And I really like the length. You know, it's a lot easier to run this category than 100% when it comes to time constraints.
I also find it's easier than 90% because it doesn't have the things I don't like about 90% in it.
Except the early game.
We're on to goats. Just herding these 20 goats as fast as possible.
Zeldz being very aware of the whoop radius there, or range, very good.
Generally nice goats for Zelda 2617.
Yeah, we've seen some 30 goats, so...
I think in the seeding race I had like a 45.
Oh, really?
It can go really long, or the shortest any human has done is 15 seconds. And in an 80% speedrun, you'd see Zeldz going and talking to Mayor Bo right now. But instead, we just wait until later for that. Really good goats from Deesh.
Excellent. Yeah, we don't want to talk to Bo right now because we want to use his text for a glitch later. If we were to get the iron boots right now from Bo, then we wouldn't be able to get text displacement from Bo to get into Goron mines in the weird game state that we'll get after getting Master Sword early. So the reason why we can get iron boots early is because we did a back in time save at the beginning where we inherited all the properties of the title screen link. And one of those properties is that we can get the iron boots right away because the game considers us to have sort of finished Elden Twilight and tamed Epona. Well, it's taming Epona, that's the big one.
So if only it actually skipped Elden Twilight.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, it would, Elden Twilight is a fan favorite Twilight, but it does, of course, take a while.
Yeah. Skipping Linearu would be better, but
yeah,
getting rid of any of the first hour and a half of any percent would be nice.
We do skip Linearu Twilight in this category, though.
That we do. We also skip the forest symbol, which is really cool. That we no longer have to go to the first dungeon to get to the second.
Yeah, so the route is a lot more interesting these days than it was back in the day. And, the boomerang being a very useful item for just casual progression, but also for GameCube speedruns with the boomerang long jump attack glitch. You would think that the boomerang would be really important to collect, but we can do some other trickery to get around the need for the boomerang, and just we can be quick in Goron mines without it.
Yeah, and that trickery is exactly why Wii is also competitive in this category. In fact, Wii is technically fastest. Just because the big disadvantage Wii any% runs have is that they can't do the long jump with the boomerang. But it has faster loading times, less lag, and it has a cool trick in Goron mines that we'll be seeing later.
It saves so much time, just that one room. Well, it is used a couple places in the dungeon, but there's one room in particular where, yeah, the difference between GameCube and Wii is like night and day. So in the sewers area, it's just pure movement, like bonking, of course. There's a tech skip that Zelds can get right here where...
Wait, how do you do it?
Sorry, you cut off there?
I don't think that's quite how you do it.
No, not quite.
Zelda's trying to jump and hit the right of this block. Missed the tech skip there, but unfortunately missing it twice, lost about 12 seconds.
It looks like Deesh might have gotten it, we'll see.
And falling off again.
So Deesh went for the skip and avoided the text, but he went too far right so that the midna prompt did not appear. So you need to, if you want to avoid that text, you gotta avoid it just barely. Because if you jump way too off, then you'll avoid the text, but you'll also never get the ability to midna jump.
He's struggling a little bit with the ropes there. The ropes can be very finicky, they've got strange hitboxes. But yeah, just with that tech skip, we've got ourselves a fairly close race.
Let's see if they get the next tech skip right here. So there's a cutscene, and right afterwards is one frame where they can do a jump attack and skip some midna text.
Oh, this tech skip is so hard on me, but Zeld's doing it.
Oh, they
and
both
Deesh
got it.
Both getting it.
Awesome.
For some reason, when you're pressing other buttons, the minus button tends not to like to work. So it takes some skill to be able to get that on Wii.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like the #1 most annoying thing about the Wii version, in my opinion. That sometimes you can't skip cutscenes.
Yeah, let's see if the car garage will be nice to them. Ooh, Zeld's
Nice
almost
to
getting
Zeld.
hit, but nice.
They were nice to Deesh. Alright, and that finishes the sewers and the rooftops section. Now we're on to sword and shield skip. Which is
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, so due to how the game state is with the back in time save at the beginning, it is not possible to collect the Ordon sword and shield from their locations, intended locations in the village. If you try, then you'll realize that the NPCs that you need just aren't there. So they must perform sword and shield skip. A big roadblock for new runners learning the game, although we do have excellent resources for this on ZSR. And any runners are encouraged to post their attempts in the Discord, asking for specific advice. And you'll have plenty of people who are interested in giving you feedback. And Sword and
Yeah.
Shield Skip is about luring this Bulblin all the way over to the Twilight trigger. The trigger that for the Pharaoh Twilight. And using him to get a long jump attack.
Yeah, I think this trick is just so hard because there are so many things to pay attention to. And there's also an RNG element, and on the Wii version, they don't have camera control. So they just have to take whatever camera the game gives them, and it can be really difficult.
And you can see Deesh there was, he held target while pushing Hugo. He didn't want to target Hugo just yet, so you could have his consistent camera from before, from the initial approach. Looking good for Zeldz.
Being pretty cautious, which is very reasonable.
Yep.
Failing this, oh no!
Oh no. Wolf controls.
Yeah, doing a back hop is sometimes really hard, and unfortunately Zeld's failing a back hop there and costing about 1 minute and 30 seconds.
I love the adding insult to injury thing, where you're trying to side hop off the bridge, but then you just end up jump attacking the bridge instead and you don't fall off.
But Deesh
Oh,
also
close.
failing the trick. Oh, man.
Very close though, he did get to attempt it.
As we say, this is a fairly difficult trick, so hopefully they'll be able to get a second try.
Zeld's being a little bit ahead with the escort of Hugo. Hugo the Bulblin, community named. Well, he was named 12 years ago.
Do you have the day for that, or just the year?
I wish. I'll have to ask Fino about that. Hugo just not swinging there. Yeah, so whether Hugo will swing or just be idle is completely RNG, and there's no way to manipulate that.
Sometimes you want going for a very quick attempt there, Zeldz, but unfortunately failing it again.
And the reason the runners have senses on is so that it's way easier to look at some visual cues on the ground. That looks good.
That looks
Very
good
nice.
for Deesh. Second try for Deesh. Pulling an early lead, but there are plenty of things in this category that could bring it back for Zeldz.
So many more things that can go wrong.
Pulling up the map, just gotta know.
Oh.
The Wii remote.
Need new batteries.
Deesh onto this first Shadow Beast fight, which intentionally won't be able to do in one cycle. I'll have to go and get the Midna charge to actually finish off the beasts. All
Yeah, so you're
Zeldz
learning like
got
one.
the better Wii
like-
remote, and we'll be going for it again.
Yeah, you're sort of learning one technique at a time in the early game. So in the sewers section, you were taught how the senses works, and then Midna jumps and whatnot. And this is where the Midna charge comes into play, which is a very useful technique, which we'll see in a few minutes just how useful it can be. Alright, Zeld's setting up Sword and Shield Skip again. I wonder if he will take his time on this one.
Oh,
Unfortunately. Yeah,
I
so
self-attack again.
the thing we mentioned earlier briefly was that when it comes to wolf controls, you need to hold back for an additional frame before doing like a backup or a side up. Whereas with if you're a human, then you can do it on the same frame. So it's a little bit different when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, just one more dynamic to make the trick even harder. On Zeld's screen, or on Deesh's screen, sorry, we have to get all of the bugs in Fair and Twilight in this category, but to make it fast, we have to get them all in one go, which makes Goron Mines unique in Fair and Twilight.
Deesh turned off his senses there, so Korra couldn't he had some text boxes talking to himself, I suppose. I don't believe he can see us. It's like when he's in the Twilight Realm, he sees the effects of what we do, but not us.
Yeah, if you actually read the text, that's what it implies. That we're speedrunners, we don't read text. Finally getting it.
Wow.
That was a little scuffed, but we got the skip.
Zeld's entering Fire and Twilight.
And
Yeah, that was a little bit unconventional, but he had excellent speed for the second jump attack, bringing him enough forward to hit the correct trigger. So there's two triggers. The first trigger, Midna says go back and get the sword and shield. Even though they have the sword and shield that they got from back in time, it's not in the equipment screen. And they can't get it due to the game state, due to that glitch. So they need to hit the second trigger just a little bit further ahead. So that's what they use Hugo for.
And as we said, there are still plenty of things that can get this race close again. Like, coming up soon, there's the early Master Sword trick, which the runners will both have to do twice. And that's another gatekeeper to new runners sometimes. Just because of the RNG and the precision of it. So
Yeah, so there's also RNG with Hugo, whether he will swing or not, but it's very easy to dodge his attacks. Whereas when it comes to early Master Sword, you're waiting for a swing from the Shadow Beast whilst you're charging a midnight charge, and there's no way to cancel it without taking a hit or, releasing it onto an enemy. So if you only get bad hits, then, the Shadow Beast will have to hit you to cancel the charge, and eventually you need to go and get more hearts. So the
oh
RNG
no,
is
he destroyed it out.
Oh no.
Putting out, making these bugs unburrow themselves.
Yeah,
Doing
so
a nice break.
the void out being just very slightly slower than digging them up, but you get a consistent spawn. It's pretty difficult to kill them as soon as right after digging them up. Alright, so we have early Master Sword on Deesh's screen. We're gonna lure the Shadow Beast to a specific spot on the wall, and then hope for a slow swing.
Which
Very nice.
Deesh did very well.
Now he
Nice
has
first
to
try.
maneuver his way out of bounds and get the two bugs outside of Forest Temple. So we do want to clear the Twilight, but if we complete this fight, then we can't do early Master Sword. So we need to do the trick twice and make sure we resurrect the Shadow Beasts in between.
And back a few years ago, we didn't even do early Master Sword in this category. It was only by finding TV that was made faster. We'll get more into that later. Actually, yeah, before finding text displacement, the runners would have to go and get the spinner before entering Goron Mines, which is definitely slow.
Yeah, I didn't bother timing how much slower that would be. I timed I timed some backup route, but not that one. Although my interest is peaked a little bit. Yeah, so it is possible to reattempt EMS from like right as the Shadow Beast wakes up there where he last was, but it's a little bit finicky because the collision gets enabled at a time that can be a bit awkward. Seeing some nunchuck problem from both runners here occasionally.
Deesh unfortunately missing the second EMS a couple of times.
Luckily, it's way faster to retry at EMS than it is Sword and Shield skip.
Yeah, I think it probably wastes around 20 seconds per attempt.
That sounds about right. That was an excellent one.
So, for Deesh, it was a first try on the first early Master Sword and third try on the second. Not bad at all, but did lose about 40 seconds to optimal. Let's hope Zeldz can catch up a little bit there.
Yeah, so Zeldz did not midnight charge these bugs, and you can see what happens if you don't. Then they start to spread really quickly. Bugs are really reactive to your movement, and most bugs can flee very easily if you don't follow your game plan to a T. We'll see more of that later in Elden Twilight.
Ooh, going for the risky jump there. If you get hit by that swinging thing, it knocks you down to the lower platform. And
Zeld's also avoiding to reset the bugs.
And the Sacred Grove on Deesh's screen is fairly simple. Just go and hit the Skull Kid 3 times, and then go and hit the Skull Kid 3 more times, and then you can do a puzzle to get the Master Sword.
A very difficult puzzle. I had to write it down and put it in my game case when I was a kid.
I just looked it up every time. Alright, let's see if Jamal is nice to Zeldz.
Ooh. Lots of snaking going on from Zeldz there as he went from left to right, but he did eventually end up in a good spot to release the midnight charge.
Yeah. Nice first try from Zeldz.
If he gets first try on the next one, then he will have saved lots of time over Deesh. Deesh also had some issues collecting killing these bugs, so that's going to be the same for Zeldz. I don't know why, but for some reason the cutscene you skip there after killing those 2 bugs outside of Forest Temple can sometimes, like the fade out can sometimes be really quick, other times can be really slow. And I asked Fino if he knew why, and he didn't have an answer, but he said, send me a clip and you can take a look at it, so I'll have to do that. Another notable difference between GameCube and Wii is that Wii has a charge-up time for quick spins. So Wolfling's tail will be a sound effect and sound and visual effect for when it's ready again.
So he's saying it always seems slow with midnight charge and fast with normal attacks. That's interesting.
So Zeld's retrying from the same spot, not re-luring the Shadow Beast. Oh, Shadow Beast ignoring him. Now he needs to take a hit. Yeah. As I mentioned before, there's no way to cancel that other than taking a hit. So it tried to go as far away as possible, hoping that the midnight charge wouldn't miss if the distance was great enough, but fortunately still
can work sometimes, but
yeah,
it's very difficult.
There we go.
That was a 4th try on the second one. Losing just a little bit of extra time over Deesh, unfortunately. And Deesh now doing the very difficult puzzle.
Let's see if we'll go for the sense trick.
Yeah, every jump there are 2 frames that you can press the senses button and have the screen flash. It's absolutely useless, but he got one there. Good job, Deesh.
Oh, another one. Is it 12 in total?
Connected nunchuck. Getting some nunchuck problems there. Yeah, there are 12 in total.
Is it common to experience nunchuck disconnectivity for Wii runs?
I didn't usually, but I also and run Wii very seriously. It's
I
a
had
really
a
cool game.
I had it a little bit with Breath of the Wild for Wii U with the gamepad, but yeah. Zima did a lot. Oh, that's unfortunate. I wonder if the Wii Remote Plus, the one that has that built-in, being one of the newer Wii modes, if it's like more stable than one of the original Wii modes.
I don't know. I've never used one of the Wii Remote Pluses.
Well, you didn't pre-order Skyward Sword in 2011.
No, I did not. Yeah, it's 2 frames, so if you mash 15 times per second, which they'd have to mash D-pad left or right, they would guaranteed get it on Wii.
Oh,
I wonder
right.
if you could mash left, right, left, right, left, right, and just do that 30 times per second, so, you know.
The manual super swing of TP with sense presses during the Master Sword puzzle.
Master
so
Sword
Deesh now-
cutscene is 2 minutes long.
And Deesh now having the Master Sword early, it's going to be really useful for Elden Twilight. And just in general, having the Master Sword early allows for quicker, routing. And having the ability to warp reduces travel time in the overworld by a lot.
Yeah, and also being able to turn between wolf and human will come into play in a few places.
Zeld's jump attacking Skull Kid on like one of the first possible frames there. A bit risky, but same time.
Now, Deesh just has the last 2 tiers to collect, and then we'll be doing what's known as back in time equipped. This is what we were saying could crash on Wii if you do it wrong. Deesh will be doing a setup, which involves resetting, jumping off the bridge, and then doing back in time in order to hopefully avoid that crash. It should, but we don't actually know why it works, so we're just hoping.
I believe
also-
I've heard Kip Code looking into that a bit more.
Deesh getting a 1 frame backflip there to save a little bit of time to skip some minute text.
Hopefully all goes well for Deesh.
Alright, Deesh doing the first part of the setup, resetting. I'm going to reload the file. This setup for Back in Time Equipped was found just last year, I think, by Andy, who currently holds the record for a bunch of Wii categories. Jumping off the bridge, and then now he'll be going for Back in Time. And that should let him press A on the title screen without crashing.
Hopefully that was frame 1 is what he's looking for, I think.
I believe so, yeah. Oh, just missed it.
I guess that might have been frame 2 then. Link did leave he was a bit further off the ground than I thought he was supposed to be. Does he have to redo every part of the setup now?
I don't actually know. No, it looks like he'll just need to jump off the bridge again and then do Back in Time.
Right, so redoing half of the setup, or the second part of it. Yeah, that looks like the first frame. That was a bit different. Link being a little bit closer to the bridge this time. Oh. Guess that was the same frame.
He's still having a fairly comfortable lead here, but getting this back in time is very essential. And then we've got a huge RNG part right after it, so that's fun. Nice rope.
Yeah, the adding insult to injury thing where it's just really difficult to void out when you want to. Did he miss the?
I
was
think,
it
yeah,
second?
failed to
Yeah.
pause, which then you have just one heart, which you need at least two to do back in time, so it's gonna reset and do the setup again.
This gives Zelda an excellent opportunity to catch up, though. He's now finished with the Master Sword cutscene, and just gonna collect the last 2 tiers, and then he'll be right where Deesh is. Zelda's being careful not to be too quick on the inputs there to accidentally transform into wolf instead of warping. It's a very common
Okay.
mistake.
That looks right from Deesh. No, still missing it. Oh man. All of these look right. I don't know why they're missing. And Zeld's now finished with the Twilight.
Get a bit of an interesting textural link there as he gets the last tier as human. Oh, nice. Zeld's got the backflip.
Both of them getting the backflip. That's
Oh,
pretty
he did
good.
as well.
And
There we go.
Zeld's crucially re-enabling pointer controls. And Deesh not getting the crash. That's good.
So that was sixth try or 7th try or something?
Something like that. A lot of time lost, unfortunately.
Let's see what kind of RNG he gets on King Goblin 1 here. Oh, he... What?
Probably a nunchuck problem.
Man, he's been having real issues with the nunchuck. Unfortunately. King Goblin will turn after this hit. Oh, good RNG.
Yeah, not too bad RNG overall. Just a little unfortunate with that nunchuck issue at the start. Alright, let's see how Zeldz does with the back in time.
That looks good to me, but maybe he was... I guess that is
Getting
the
it
second.
first try.
Oh, he did get it, yeah. It's weird because it looked like that was... Like Deesh did it the same way earlier, but...
Also
Oh,
not crashing, let's go.
Deesh getting the frame perfect hit on the second hit of King Bulblin there, where he just stays in an interesting animation.
Right, he's still sitting all the way down. Alright, Deesh still
Bad RNG for Zelds, unfortunately.
decent amount ahead of Zeldz, but there's still quite a bit that can happen. Oh, Zeld's using his last spur. He's gonna have to wait for them to recharge now.
Hopefully doesn't get knocked off the horse. Okay.
Deesh reloading the area to make the Shadow Beast spawn, put it in the proper state, because the game doesn't think when you're done with King Bulblin 1 that you're in Twilight, because that is not the normal state of the game.
Makes sense. One more hit left on King Bulblin, I believe. Oh, opening the map.
That was RNG minute, don't worry about it.
Yep, that will give him an excellent bow later. The Shadow Beasts are just not noticing Deesh at all. See if Zeldz gets the quick cycle. You have to wait a little bit. Good awareness. Very nice. So Deesh is collecting this as human because it's a little bit faster than transforming into wolf. The Shadow Beasts die a little bit quicker if you deal a spin attack as human Link versus wolf Link with a midnight charge. And then also collecting the vessel happens pretty much instantaneously after talking to Eldin.
And you move faster in the water as human.
Yeah, that's
one of the only places in the game where that's true. Alright. We'll also be collecting all of the Elden Tears. Deesh finally going back and re-enabling the pointer. I don't know that will be crucial in Elden Twilight, but it'll come into handy later.
He's giving him some issues, but there we go. Can clip into the well there by doing a side hop as human. As you're not supposed to be human at this point, then, you know, Doesn't work as Wolf as far as we know.
Well-designed game right there.
He's getting pretty good basement bugs. He was a bit careful and it paid off. And Zeld's also starting the Twilight, so they're not too far apart.
Yeah, maybe it's down to a minute now? Maybe less? I don't know.
I know something that loses a minute in this Twilight, if you don't get it.
Oh yeah, I wonder if they'll be going for it. There's a trick called Wolf Bomb House Skip coming up later that saves about 30 seconds if you can get it. But it requires some precise angle and positioning.
So Deesh bonked the wall there to lure the bug all the way down. Usually this tier is a bit slow to collect as you gotta climb all the way up and attack the bug at the top there. But bugs will react to your movement and to your, like, if you make noises, if you hit certain walls. So we're gonna abuse that for certain bugs.
It's remarkable how many enemies react to you making noises in this game, and how little we utilize that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, even Hugo the Bulblin we use for Sword and Shield Skip reacts to you just bonking the wall.
Although sometimes it can be a little bit slow. You can extend right in front of him and he'll take priority over, like, with the, he'll take priority listening to the sound, like where the noise came from, rather than just, while he's looking straight at you, he'll just ignore you for a little while.
Yeah. But it's faster than running through the loading zone that Hugo would be currently standing in that situation.
Yeah, Deesh got the bonk, very nice. I believe it's unfortunately slightly slower than doing a side hop, but it looks so much cooler.
Yeah, I don't even know if the side hop is an option when you've got the bonk. I don't know if it'll come into play, but if you leave one of these rooms before the game considers you collecting the bug, like when Link turns blue, then you won't have collected it, and you'd have to go back and recollect it. So we usually have to wait a tiny bit before leaving.
Unfortunately, nunchuck issues again for Zeldz. Alright, Wolf Bombhouse Skip coming up for Deesh, possibly if he attempts it. He's in the lead, so he can safely not go for it, but if he wants that extra time save...
He's going for it. Jumping over onto this railing, and then gonna be lining up with a...
Oh, that was very fast.
That was really fast. I don't even remember what the visual cue was on Wii, but very well done from Deesh. And that makes the house disappear before, you know, you've done anything to it.
Yeah, it looks very weird. The game is like, okay, if the bug is dead, then surely you have watched this cutscene and, you know, done the whole thing inside of this house, but... So it just instantly renders the house destroyed. It's very convenient. Skips 2 loading zones and a cutscene.
Zeld's getting a rupee there, nice.
Yeah, rupees are not necessary for this category, it's purely for swag. Let's see if Deesh will go for this blue rupee while he waits for the tier to be collectible. Oh, he tried to go for the tech skip, but unfortunately missed it.
Yeah, if you side hop over a rupee, then you can skip the text, but it looked like Deesh tried and just barely failed it. Just 3 bugs left for Deesh, and how many left for Zeldz? About 9, 8 now?
Yeah, 8 bugs to go.
Let's see if Zeldz will go for Wolf Bombhouse Skip as well.
If he doesn't, then he'll have to make up more time in Goron Mines. Going for riskier strats there. There's a lot of pick and choose strats when it comes to Goron Mines. Like inside the dungeon, there are some difficult time savers that save a little bit of time, and could potentially lose a lot of time if failed. But it makes it really exciting if you know that you need to save time in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going for it.
We'll be going for it. Yeah, normally we have the boomerang here, and we can do this skip really easily. Looks like we got it really nice. But it's slower to get the boomerang in this category. Oh, getting the
Oh, he got the void.
No.
Well, that should be fine.
Was probably a nunchuck moment because there's no reason to do a back hop there. Yeah, doing a side hop to collect the last year.
Yeah, so even though the house gets rendered in the broken state before, like as soon as you kill the bug before it enters, the house visually it looks the same, but it's a little off when it comes to hitbox detection. So it's possible to void out there if you're not being careful with your movement. But luckily, since the bug was already dead, he didn't need to retry the trick. A little bit unfortunate RNG there. Let's see if he gets the... Oh, is he going for the side up? Okay, no. You don't need money in this category, so it's no need, but sometimes it's nice to get to go for the blue rupee just to get it out of the way, so you won't accidentally hit it later.
Yeah, but anytime you go for the blue rupee, you run the risk of getting the text, and that loses just a couple of seconds. I don't know if it's the same case on Wii, but on GameCube the fastest version, other than Japanese, is French, and the rupee text is really, really slow in French. Oh, sorry, Spanish. It's Spanish, not French. Don't at me, Simi. And so it's very important that you avoid that rupee in that version. Both of our runners are playing on English. I don't know if Wii 1.0 has anything specific to the category. Maybe the Goron Mines fun skip is part of it. But Wii 1.0 only came in English, so that's probably why.
Getting a nice bonk on the Howling Stone there for good measure. Some break slides from Deesh. Yeah, so if you dash and then do a quick target and then hold the control stick just outside of the dead zone range on the... Yeah, outside of the dead zone range, then you can get that little moonwalk thing, which is very useful if done perfectly in a lot of areas as Wolf Link. Less frequently used as Human Link, but you'll basically only see it in the tasks and in some niche cases in like any percent for like Arbiter's Grounds, for instance, if you want to go for human movement.
And you see it all over the task. Deesh will be talking to Bo 4 to 6 times. This is the text displacement we were talking about earlier that allows us to get into Goron Mines, even though we have the Master Sword.
Yeah, so normally this is supposed to play in a cutscene, and you can't pick and choose which, like you can't only have some text boxes of Bo. You gotta listen to this whole monologue. But since, because of Back in Time, we can activate each text box individually, which gives us text displacement halfway through, or after 2 text boxes. And we can sort of apply those text boxes on Goron.
Yeah, the game keeps track of how far you are in the conversation, and the same flag applies to different NPCs. So we can take it from Bo and put it on Goron, and that lets us get into Goron Mines.
It also skips wrestling, which is pretty nice.
However, it doesn't skip the wrestling with Bo because we need the Iron Boots to beat Goron Mines, which, you know, is not technically true, but beating Goron Mines without the Iron Boots would take quite a few extra things that we are not doing in this category.
So it's important that Deesh does not lose text displacement, as it's quite easy to lose it. You can watch certain cutscenes, talk to certain NPCs, get a game over screen or save warp, and he will lose it. So he needs to be a bit careful as he's making his way up here. He couldn't go for early elevator at the moment. He will go for that later, most likely.
I really
right
hope
now.
that Deesh doesn't accidentally save warp to lose text displacement. That would be a real tragedy.
Very nice dodging the Gorons. If you turn your camera around there, you can avoid the prompt that is like a wrestle prompt that appears as they're rolling towards you, and you can side up to dodge the Gorons. Can be a little bit tricky, but it was very good.
Nice jumping straight to the edge there, getting some hearts, and we'll be talking to Goron once, and then leaving.
Oh nice, Deesh did get the hop there from the ring. Right, so Goron Mines is now unlocked. Oh interesting, he goes on this side, the GameCube side. Yeah, so there's a little spot in the corner there where you can warp. GameCube, for GameCube it will be on the right side, so it'll be left on Wii. I haven't checked if the other side even works. Deesh just attempted the other side and he didn't get it, but maybe he wasn't far enough into the corner.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's only the one side, but that,
Oh, interesting.
it's very finicky. Like,
Lucky for me that I tested the corner that works right away then. I just never bothered to test the other one. So that could be a result of Deesh watching, you know, GameCube runners do this stream categories, attempts of this category, and then, oh, they go to the right, and then...
yeah. Sometimes it's dangerous to watch runs of the other
yeah.
version.
It looks like Zeldz could have made it before the Steam cycle there, but he played it safe.
Yeah. Climbing up here as Wolf saves about 5 seconds over human.
Yep, it was an idea by Taka that I eventually timed, and it's pretty nice. Feels very nice to get it before the Steam cycle. Just being quick with the first jump attack onto the platform.
Right, Deesh will now be going for getting the iron boots from Bo, which is basically 2 rounds of rock, paper, scissors, at least.
With some aggressive mashing.
2 rounds of rock, paper, scissors where you have to mash at least 12 times per second.
Ooh, Zeld's almost not grabbing the ledge there.
Which said mashing can be difficult with the Wii remote, but so some Wii runners I know don't go for the one cycle.
Yeah, mashing the Wii mode sounds a little bit awkward. I'm only used to mashing the GameCube A, which is quite a big button. I'm gonna check with my Wii mode.
Deesh getting a nice 2-cycle there. And Zeldz warping away from the correct corner. I'll be catching up to Deesh.
I'm currently measuring the size of the A button for Wii mode versus GameCube, and the GameCube's A button is roughly twice the size, so a little bit easier to mash.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that shaking the Wii remote causes a slap, so if you're trying to mash, it can also cause you to slap, which...
Oh yeah, that's a bit awkward.
Pretty good RNG there for Deesh. Only a few extra slaps. Let's hope the same can be said for Zeldz.
Yeah, the controller is a bit bigger. It's way easier to stabilize a GameCube controller than a Wiimote.
You'll notice very importantly, Deesh equipped the iron boots over the lantern and then put it on D-pad down. It's very important that he doesn't have both the lantern and the iron boots on his equips right now, which will come into play in Goron Mines. Deesh will not be going for early elevator. You can explain that.
Yeah, so you can do a target roll here to clip through and then a jump slash to save yourself from voiding. And then quickly transform, dodge the Goron. Yeah. Oh, he's going to... Ah, I wonder if that's faster. That might be a decent way to retry it, if you want to go for it again. Oh, nunchuck issues once again. But yeah, so early elevator. So you get to the elevator a bit earlier. You make this ascent up that mountain a bit quicker than you did last time. As now Goron Mines is unlocked, so the guy at the top will allow you to go through the shortcut. So, gotta dodge the Goron.
I wonder if that that home menu pause was just to reconnect the nunchuck and make sure everything was good.
Yeah. Just to compose himself, maybe. But there we go, we can dash across this wolf to click back and bounce and make it across that gap and make it to the elevator. Put on iron boots, right up, and then there's a guard that blocks the entry, or, well, yes, the entry to the elevator. But since Goron Mines is unlocked now, all we gotta do is talk to him. And luckily it is possible to talk to him from behind, from one of the corners. We gotta target him to increase the range of your speaking range, and then he will step out of the way.
I believe it was a good bow for Zeldz as well. Just gonna say that now.
Yes, evidently I did not pay attention to his bow.
Yeah, neither did I, but he golded, so
Yeah.
I assume it was good. Now we're into Goron Mines, which is fiery.
Why? Lots of lava, lots of things that can go wrong if you're not careful. Makes it really exciting.
If you fall into the lava, it does 2 full hearts of damage. Which is quite a lot.
And if... Oh! And I believe he was on...
Yeah,
Yep.
game overing there.
That's unfortunate.
I don't think Zeldz will quite be able to catch up just with that, but
So
that's how easily you can lose a lot of time in Goron Mines.
Zeld's being careful there not to dash with a bad angle. Good. Yeah, Deesh had, I believe, 1 heart and 3/4, so just a little bit too low to survive a lava void out. And there are many different ways you can avoid the flame jets here. So you have invincibility frames, so you take damage and then you can... Oh, he did hold forward on the control stick there. Did a neutral drop.
And Zeldz essentially now caught up.
Oh, Deesh opting to
no.
game over. He opting to game over to reset his health, it looks like. Zeldz is now ahead.
Not by much though, and Goron Mines is a hard dungeon even past the first room.
Let's see what kind of strat Zeldz would go for. So, invincibility frames to get past the first one, and then here we have the second one. Oh no!
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta be
Hitting the
really
toe
careful how you hit the flame jet there, so you make sure that you bonk into you hit the wall. You can get 1 heart from this box. There are plenty of boxes there, but only 1 yields a heart.
There are 3 different flame jets that they need to skip in this room. Or
Yeah,
just use the switch, which
Yeah,
doesn't
Deesh opted to
lose
go for the
that
switch.
much time in any of the cases.
No, it's 1.5 seconds slower than the fastest strat. So using this switch would have been faster than the strat that Deesh was attempting, which looked like rolling under the flame jet after taking a hit from it.
Zeld's getting that strat. Very nice. Gonna be going for the switch as well here, Deesh.
Oh, nice quick spin from Deesh there during the cutscene.
Yeah, as speedrunners, we want to make everything go fast, but sometimes that's not the wisest thing. Zeld's failing to get hit by the little fireball there and going for the switch. Probably a good option. Probably a good choice. Deesh is pulled back in the lead, but not by much.
I wonder if we'll see oh, I was about to say risky, but time saver to note says 4 seconds only, but he did miss the chest there a little bit.
Yeah, if you get the perfect cycle in this room, it saves a bit of time, but it's also very risky. You arrive at these rotating platforms just barely in time to make the quickest cycle. But Deesh wasn't able to get it there. Maybe Zeldz will? I don't know.
Yeah, movement looking good so far. Alright, so we have slab clip. So by just pulling the slab a few times, you can then roll in between the space of the slab and the wall, and you can save a few seconds. Zeldz unfortunately game overing. He fell in the risky but time saver to know it saves 4 seconds only room. It's very easy to fall in lava there.
I think I did that at the seeding race, but it's, yeah, very easy to do. Just
the platforms aren't really lined up correctly. It's a bit of an oversight from the developers, I would say. The first one is fine, but the second one you just arrive at a really awkward spot. So runners will usually put on iron boots. As you can see, he barely made it to the platform there with just a completely regular jump. When you hold forward from one platform to another, you will have like a set jump. There's no like jump button. But you just barely land on the platform without going too far there. So I would say that's a bit of an oversight from the developers. Falling in lava again, really easy to do in that room. Oversight they want you to suffer, true. Deesh not picking up the Uku there, very good. It's quite easy to pick up the pod as you're trying to roll, and you get a cutscene where the Uku frees itself.
I believe JD did that in a 100% plus run once, and that killed the entire run because he needed the Uku he already had.
Oh, unfortunate.
It wouldn't do that much in this category, but it would lose a hefty amount of time.
Zeldz unfortunately bonking for the slab clip, so he needs to retry it. He has to wait for the slab to go all the way back before he can pull it again. Pulling it a few extra times this time to give him more room for error. That looks good.
Deesh falling a couple of times in this room.
Deesh just got the first key shard, so there are 3 key shards and they together assemble the boss key. But you only need the last one. The game doesn't really check to see if you have talked to all the other Gorons to get each individual key shard. Because it thinks that it shouldn't be possible for you to only get the 3rd one, but it is. Although skipping the first one requires some additional things that we do not have.
We're seeing a trick here from Deesh, unequipping the iron boots while going up to the ceiling. Lets you run really fast on the ceiling.
I'm so envious.
Every GameCube runner wishes we could do this, but no, it is we only.
That saves so much time. And Zeldz also used that in the previous room. There was a short section like that, but a very short one.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier it's very important that the only thing they have equipped right here is the iron boots. That's because if they still had the lantern equipped, it would just swap them.
Right. So we're gonna see that trick from Zeldz now in this room. Force unequipping iron boots being an important glitch for several reasons. We have it here, and then we also have it for the Morpheal fight in any percent.
Now Deesh getting to the Tektite room, which has a neat little gate clip, which will hopefully go well. How much time does it save, Sky?
If done perfectly, it saves 34 seconds.
34 seconds compared to... Oh, it would probably save even less on Wii because they can use the same glitch over on the second ceiling. But it saves a decent amount of time compared to going and activating a magnet and going to the ceiling and then going and hitting a crystal switch. Deesh getting it fairly nice there.
He made a quick adjustment to get it there. He was a bit too far left, but with the one very nice control stick flick, he was put in the correct position very quickly.
Those Tektites can be very mean if you don't get it really quickly.
Yeah, and killing them as wolf takes much longer than as human.
For
you also take
some
double damage as wolf, so... Ah, Zeldz opting to kill them here, which is a pretty good idea because they're a lot closer to you at the start of the room. But unfortunately falling in the water. accidentally once.
Now we're coming up to... we have this outside room, and then the next room, there's something called keyshard skip, which I imagine they'll both be going for. Just a precise jump. It's somewhat precise on angle, and it's 1 to 2 frames to make this jump to skip the second key shard. As Sky said, the game only checks for the third key shard, so skipping the second one is fine.
We could see some runners here, one of them attempting it, and then if they don't get it, then they'll just go and get it. But yep, we'll see that for Deesh.
Which
Wise
will
choice.
lose about 32 seconds.
Yeah, if you don't get it within, I believe, 8 tries, then it ends up being slower.
Yeah, right around there. Say hi to SVA, everyone.
Yeah, SVA has had that character as his profile picture since 2012, I think, at least.
Since I was a wee lad.
A wee GameCube lad. Let's see if Deesh will go for the jump attack here, putting him a bit further forward after he unequips Iron Boots. Very nice. Gives Deesh a little bit of walking.
Let's see if Zeldz will go for keyshard skip as Deesh enters the Dengoro fight. Looks like Zeldz will be going for it again.
There's potential to save time here if he gets it within 6 tries.
That's a really...
Yeah,
Okay, just... Probably for the...
Deesh accidentally messing up the setup here. Almost did it, almost got the back go, like fixing it on the fly. So ideally we want to toss Dengoro off the platform in such a way so that at the end of the toss animation we grab the ledge, and if we then climb back up after Dengoro has hit the fire a couple of times, then he will get clicked into the platform and he will essentially fall back down again, since you do 2 quick cycles that way.
Still a fairly clean fight from Deesh, even if not getting the quick cycle. Let's see how good Zeld's fight goes.
Both of them have very careful movement getting onto the magnetic wall there. If you do the risky thing where you sort of jump towards it and put on Iron Boots to snap onto the wall, then if your angle isn't good enough, then you'll just fall all the way down back in the water, which didn't you do in one of your races?
Yeah, I think I did.
But I think you
I did do
still...
that.
that was like the only mistake pretty much of the run, like it was very good otherwise.
Yeah. I don't remember which race it was, but very unfortunate time loss, because then you have to go for keyshard skip all over again. Zeld's getting the 2 cycle here. Very nice. And we should have about 5 or 6 minutes left. Probably closer to 6.
Deesh getting hitting the rope on the 4th shot. It's pretty difficult to hit the first one. Using the Wiimote for aiming with the Wiimote, he now has turning on pointer controls earlier.
Yep. And now getting the last key shard. And the rest of the dungeon is basically heading to the boss and then fighting the boss.
Let's see if he gets hit by the torch slug on his way out. Oof, close, but dodging it. Very nice. You can also bonk the chest there very easily. So they're now in the same room, but Deesh is on his way out. Deesh getting 3 LJs, enemy LJs on
And Zeld's jumping into the lava there.
Oh, unfortunately. And his health was too low, so that's a game over. I believe in terms of game overs, Deesh has, I think they game over once more than Zeldz.
I'm not sure. I think so, yeah.
Fortunately for this game, if you game over, you're not put back to the first room of the dungeon, unlike Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. I believe they'll be going for the moon boots right here. Deesh forgetting to kill his enemies to skip this cutscene, but we'll be going for a nice moon boots, or not.
Looks like he's going for the
Won't be going
demos. Zelda might go for it. So, on Wii specifically, you can perform a strat here without any hidden skills, called Moon Boots, getting onto a chest and then having Iron Boots on, doing a jump attack, and then I believe on the first frame, getting the maximum height from the jump attack, like from Moon Boots, you will get enough height to get onto a box. If you were to try that on GameCube, it wouldn't work without having Jump Strike, one of the last hidden skills. Deesh going for, yeah, the wooden platform, very good.
Wasn't sure there what he was going for. But...
Yeah, it looked like he was about to attempt. Maybe he changed his mind last second. Zeld's having a much quicker, like leaving this room than Deesh, opting to roll instead of doing. Oh, I take that back, commentator's curse. I accidentally picked up the barrel.
Nice barrel. And Deesh now going into Fyrus's room. Fyrus is a fairly straightforward boss. Just shoot the crystal on his head 3 times and make him trip. And then stab the crystal on his head. Or
shoot his eye like almost 30 times or so.
I think it's only 11 actually.
Oh, 11. Okay. That's not too bad. Well, it's still way slower, but it's interesting that it works.
Yeah, there is a way. There is a way to beat Goron Mines without the Iron Boots, which involves just shooting the boss's eye over and over again, but that's not the case here.
Yeah, Zeldz also forgot to kill one of the Bulblins there. And the Bulblin needs to die before you get to like the halfway point on the path to this part of the area. And since he falls really slowly, like he needs to hit the ground before he moves, so it takes a while. It's ideally you want to shoot a Bulblin first and then shoot the Beamos if you're doing that route. So none of them chose to go for the Moon Boot strat, which is very understandable. It's a one-frame trick and it's very much more difficult than the intended method.
Both of them also opting for the wooden platform, a much safer option there.
Yeah, so what Deesh almost did earlier was to jump attack, like take off the Iron Boots, jump attack, and land onto the bridge without cutting down the rope, which is just I believe it's a second and a half or so faster than landing on the wooden platform.
Deesh failing a roll stab there, having to do 3 slashes instead. Now there's just a cutscene and Deesh will be done. With Zeldz just entering Fyrus's room.
2 seconds slower to land on the platform instead of onto the bridge, but of course way more difficult to land on the bridge. The metal bridge.
It's just another strat in Goron Mines that saves basically no time but can lose a ton if you fail it.
Yep. Which makes it really exciting for races. Like we saw in the first room having a lot of those kinds of strats, and due to game overs, then, you know, the lead went back and forth between the runners.
Yeah. This has been quite the roller coaster of a race. Quite enjoyable.
Yeah, from missing tricks to the controller not working, game overs, it's been quite the ride.
You should getting the heart container. And just, yeah, time ends on pressing A to leave.
GG to
looks
Deesh.
like a 1:10:30 from Deesh.
So he will move on to the quarterfinal of the redemption bracket, facing off against Geoghost. Or Geost.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I was pronounced either. Geo.
Geo.
And I think Zeldz just has one more hit, and then the minute and 11 long cutscene.
Oh yeah, another Wii versus Wii. Unfortunate to see all the Wii people grouped together like this, but that's how it ended up being. Very close race still, and we saw some back and forth, so it's very interesting.
Yeah, Sword and Shield skip was a big ordeal, and then they both had fairly clean Elden Twilights. But
Yeah, I was really impressed with Deesh's, both of them, but especially Deesh's Wolf Bombao skip. It's incredibly quickly.
yeah, Bite almost brought the race back to tied, and then Bow was good for both of them. First room of Goron Mines was rough.
That was really exciting. So this unfortunately means for Zeldz that he's eliminated from the redemption bracket, so he's out of the tournament. But Deesh moves on to the quarterfinal, and while this is a side event, like a side bracket next to the main bracket, there was a little hint towards a prize still. Glover said he might cook something up. Zeldz shooting all the pots. Surprised that missed. Looked good. Zeldz is now playing Link's archery training.
But huge shoutouts to both of the runners. It was a very nice race, and very nice to have them both. Maybe we'll be able to get them in here for an interview.
Looks like we'll get Deesh in here. And GG to Zeldz.
Finishing with a 1:13.06. Lots of controller issues as well in the races. Or in the race. Deesh now doing the archery minigame for another art piece.
Let's see if he gets this shot first try. Oh, nice. It was a bit of a flick.
There are a few fun things that you can do at the end of the run, just for fun.
Like buying the bomb bag, the real goal, as you like to say.
Buying the bomb bag, I usually do an Epona clip these days. Some people like to push Renato into drowning. Looks like we're Zelda here. GG's to both.
GG's?
Yeah, GG's. It was a fun race. Even though like some not preferable things happened, like earlier in the run, and then first room of Goron Mines happened as well. But other than that, it was fun.
Despite everything, only 2.5 minutes apart. I'd say that's closer than I would have expected with everything that happened.
I have to ask you guys about the controller issues. You both had a lot of them. Is that normal?
The weird thing is, I think we both had different problems that ended up leading to the same sort of results.
Yeah.
Mine was just my nunchuck kept disconnecting, which usually isn't a problem with an old Wii remote, but I mean, this is not an old Wii remote by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't know, maybe it's the nunchuck.
For me, I'm blaming it on batteries, honestly. It's like, it depends on the batteries I use, but sometimes it does this, sometimes it doesn't. And today I had to switch batteries 3 times, or two or 3 times throughout the run.
Oh, dang.
And then just one time I had to pair it because somehow it got unpaired or something and wasn't connecting. That was at Hugo when that happened. I'm not
Oh,
using alkaline batteries. I will always use my EBL charger until I can get Duracells again.
Fair enough.
Well, it
I
happened
had,
to both of
um,
you, so
Oh yeah. Oh my god, it was all over the place. That's why I couldn't dodge the Goron during early elevator because I was holding
Oh.
forward and Link just stood in place.
We were wondering, the second time you pressed the home menu right as you did early elevator. Was that just to make sure that the remote was good?
That was me taking a moment to unplug and replug the nunchuck in. Yes, even though I had already done that 5 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
I did it during the warp and then I did it then.
In Fair and Twilight, like in the cave, I switched out my batteries during the load zone of digging through the hole, and then I accidentally held in like a direction on my joystick, and then it just like set the center,
Oh.
and then Link ran to the right, and when I was doing nothing, so I had to disconnect my nunchuck there. And then I would disconnect it like through every single load zone and then reconnect it my nunchuck because I wasn't taking any chances.
That's so
You should-
unfortunate.
You should have heard our VC. It started pretty serious for the first 7 minutes or so, and then it turned into
Focus.
us making like inhuman eldritch beast noises for the entirety of the run.
Getting worse
What
and
was
worse
that?
each disconnect.
But that was fun. That was fun. I hope it was chaotic fun for the viewers as well.
It was very fun, especially in the first room of Goron Mines, going back and forth with the lead.
Oh my god, that was the worst thing I've ever done.
I was gonna do the stupid strat of iron boots, hold forward and then top left notch, but I did not get the chance to do that because I rolled into the flame like an idiot. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm gonna roll into the flame and it's gonna work.
It was also really bizarre at your bite, Deesh. I couldn't see anything wrong there. It all looked right.
I think it was like fourth try. The first, or like fourth or fifth. The first like 3 were late. I've been told it's not frame perfect, that method, but I don't know the true extent of it's not frame perfectness, but I'm pretty sure I was going late on all of them, and then one of them but it's rather the game's inability to register Wii inputs when the remote is moving at 2 nanometers per hour. Drax, we runners have learned to become Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. We are so still with the Wii remote that you can't even see it in our hands.
I was pretty happy with my bite, honestly.
You got it pretty quickly. Was it first or
Yeah,
second
you
try?
got it for sure.
It was first try.
First try, yeah. I could get 10th try and everything else, and that would make me happy. In a run.
A question. Is it easier to do the like Wii home menu to reset for side op bit? Like that seems like it would be hard.
I prefer it. I don't know. It's just what I've done.
Yeah, I couldn't see myself doing that. Like, well,
Anyway,
maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, I must be off. I have things to do. Thanks for having us on ZSR. Thanks for promoting us to ZSR main. Whether or not that race was worthy of it to be discussed later, but
But
It
yeah,
was quite the show.
night.
GG's D.
Thanks
GG's
to
Zelds.
Deesh and to Zeldz, and good luck to Deesh on the next race against Geo.
Where I am going to be on the receiving end this time, probably. Good night, everyone.
Good night. I'm probably gonna head off too. GG's. Thank you for the restream, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for the race.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anno and Sky, for commentating, and thank you, Trez, for the restream.
Sure. All right. That's it then. Thank you all so much for watching. Sorry for this being a bit late, but at least we made it here. GG's to Sky and Anno, and also to Zeldz08, and to our second racer, to Deesh. GG's on the match. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Gonna see each other soon with more TP coverage from the Gunmines RTA tournament, and bye bye.